Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard list review. Today's list was sent in by that fine, upstanding fellow, Slag Hero. Yes. A most amusing name, I must say. It did give me a good chuckle when I first read it. Now, me and Mr. Hero, as we shall say, me and Slaggy here, we've had a bit of a back and forth because the first list that he sent in was a bit shit, to be honest. I think he would agree with me on that. But he's a bit back and forth, and now he's got quite a good list. And I was considering just leaving it and just, leaving my comments, but it's quite a good list that we've come across. So it's almost like a list review / list presentation. So it's it's good. I think it's definitely a good one to have, so that people can learn from it. I'm not going to go through the different processes we went through, the back and forth. I think there's about 10 emails back and forth between us. But this is the final list that we came down to, and I think it's very good for the player out there who doesn't want to have a lot of infantry. I know we do a lot of infantry on this channel, but for those of you that like your veterans and chimeras, like your tanks, I think the list that as we've come up with, I should say, obviously, it's Slaggy that's come up with the list, really. I've just been batting ideas back and forth. But I think it's definitely one of the best ones you can do for Metguard. And I've seen similar lists used on YouTube. Anyway, without butchering it up, it's an 1850-point list. It's two sources. Or is it even just... No, it is two sources. They're both formations from the Canadian Battle Group, or from the Montcalf supplement, I should say. The first source is an Emperor's Fist armoured company. So that means all the tanks next to the command tank have got Ballistic Skill 4, and they're tougher to kill if they're near engine sears. So the first... Sorry, I got a bit of a dry throat today. So let's go through the list. So Emperor's Fist Armoured Company, Tank Commander, a Vanquisher with a las cannon and multi-melter sponsons. Nice. All Ballistic Skill 4 goodness. What we like to see. And now that we know we can't take PASC in a company, in a formation like this, unfortunately, if you guys don't know, in the FAQ, we can no longer take PASC in either the Emperor's Fist Armoured Group or the... Steel Host. We can't take it in any formation. Unique characters basically aren't allowed in formations. Thanks to the FAQ. So this is the best thing you can come up with now. A Vanquisher with a las cannon, multi-melter side guns. That is pretty much the best one you're going to get now. Bodyguard tank, also a Vanquisher with las cannons and multi-melter side sponsons. Okay, the reason for this is if you're within 12 inches of the tank commander in this formation, then you get Ballistic Skill 4. So the bodyguard tank is always going to be within 12 inches. He's always going to be within 4 inches. So he's always going to be Ballistic Skill 4. So what this essentially means is you are only paying 30 points, but you're getting kind of 2 tank commanders at least. Because those 2 tanks stick close to each other, as they have to. Yeah, you're only going to get 1 tank order a turn from the tank commander, but you're getting that Ballistic Skill 4 guaranteed. So it's like having 2 tank commanders. So that's a good bit of anti-tank there. That's a real tasty bit of anti-tank. That's 8 anti-tank shots, Ballistic Skill 4. Nice. And then we have a Punisher. Nice and simple. Punisher all-round heavy bolters. Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. That's a good bullet chucker, that is. A good bullet chucker. So it's just what can you say? 20. What can you say to 29 Ballistic Skill 4 Strength 5 shots? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. And then we've got 2 exterminators with heavy bolters all round. This is also tasty, obviously. It's more bullet chuckers. I like the exterminators here because A, it saves 10 points, but B, it gives you a bit of flexibility. Now, I've run the Steel Host and I've run the Emperor's Fist Armoured group, and one thing I could say is that it's not hard to have all your tanks within 12 inches of your tank commander, but it does mean you're a bit squashed. And because you're a bit squashed, what that can do is force all your tanks to be in one place, and that makes them prime candidates for template weapons or D-sides if your opponent drops down some kind of haywire or D template weapon. It's really, really going to ruin your day. So having them as exterminators means you have to worry less about them all being grouped together, because you'll have twin linked on your main gun. So it gives you a little bit of flexibility, but if you are near your command tank, it means you've got twin linked ballistic skill 4, strength 7, AP 4 shots for them. That's going to shred a transport easily. Right, I'm going to try and get rid of this throat now. Nope, not going. Okay, we'll just have to deal with it. Sorry for this, guys. So it gives, it's there. That's good. So that formation there, you've got pure anti-tank, you've got pure anti-infantry, and then you've got 2 exterminators which can handle almost any threat. Almost any threat. Obviously, they're not going to be able to handle heavy tanks, but light transports and any infantry, they'll put out enough shots and high enough strength to do some damage. Now, it's also gone for 2 engine seers here. Okay. Now, a lot of people would, and I'm not 100% sold on the 2 engine seers, but a lot of people see the engine seer as a tax, and to a certain extent, he is a tax. But if you're within 6 inches of an engine seer, then as per any units that are part of this formation, if an enemy gets a penetrating hit against you, they've got to roll 2 dice for the vehicle damage table, but they have to pick the lowest. So it's quite good in that it makes your tanks a lot more survivable. But what you've got to remember is most armies these days glance our vehicles to death, or hull point them to death, either by grav or haywire or gauze or anything like that, or just pure good old-fashioned rending. Most people glance to death our vehicles. Yeah, fucking drink. So having the 2 engine seers it does make us more durable, but only against penetrating hits. And I tend to find that penetrating hits aren't as common as glancing hits. Now, moving on to the next part of the army, the Emperor's the assault company, the Emperor's Assault Company, which is the Chimeras and the veterans. So this is where my opinion differs slightly, but I can see the logic behind what he's gone for. Gone for a company command squad with a plasma pistol, melter bomb, 2 plasma guns, medic, and a Chimera. So I obviously approve of the Chimera, and I approve of the 2 plasma guns. Now, I actually also, a lot of you are going to be surprised at this, I actually also approve of the medic, because you're only really going to be firing 2 plasma guns out of the top hatch. So, you know, having the medic there that takes up what would normally be a plasma gun slot is okay. What I don't understand is why you've gone for the plasma pistol. Your company command squad can take 4 special weapons, and then your commander can take a plasma pistol and a melter bomb. So you've gone for 2 plasma guns and a plasma pistol. Why not go for 3 plasma guns and a medic, and just have your company commander issuing orders with the melter bomb? I assume the melter bombs take up 5 points. I can think of a better 5 points, but there we go. So I would the only two I consider only one engine sear, number one, and then I would also swap the plasma pistol for another plasma gun, and also consider dropping the melter bomb. I don't think you're going to need it. Now you've also gone for the veterans. You've gone for 2 melters and a flamer in each chimera. In a chimera. So I like the chimeras, by the way. Don't even consider torques. So I like you've gone for chimeras. And I like the fact you've gone for 2 melters. Now the melters, because obviously you'll be firing 2 guns out the top hatch. And the logic behind it is if your opponent gets close, you could flamer out the top hatch, or you can jump out of the vehicle and flamer something. And you know, it makes an assault squad essentially. Because what you can do is you can take 2 melters and a flamer, and then when you're driving up to your objective using preferred enemy to clear the enemy off, and then you jump out, melter and flame or something, and then obviously you've got to wait a turn, but then anything that's left over you melter and flame again, and then charge it if you want to. So you've gone through all the assault options. In that case, why haven't you taken shotguns over lasguns on your veterans? So when I say he's taken 3 squads, so 3 veteran squads, all with 2 melters and a flamer in a chimera. You also haven't told me what guns you're putting on your chimeras. I would assume you're going to go for multi-laser, and probably I would go heavy flamer. I'll explain that in a moment. Multi-laser, heavy flamer. Now, if you going back to the chimera, going back to the veterans. Oh, you've put carapace on the veterans as well. Okay. If that's the case, you've made assault veterans. So you've got 2 melters and a flamer. What you want is shotguns, because the whole image I have of this in my head is you're driving forward, your chimera's laying down multi-laser fire, maybe it's got a heavy bolter laying down heavy bolter fire, and your veterans will, when they get to the objective, will jump out, melt a gun and flame or something, and then next turn, melt a gun and flame, and shotgun obviously, melt a gun, flame and shotgun, and whatever is left over from that, you can charge and finish off. You know, that works. That's the theory behind it. That works against Tau. Maybe not so much against like Riptide spam, but against some more conventional Tau forces with a dab of Fire Warrior here, a dab of, Crisis Suit there, some Pathfinders, some Kroot, some normal Tau. If you guys have seen me play a lot of Tau on this channel, I have, with some success, run before the Emperor's Fist Assault Company came out. I ran melter assault vets and chimeras, and this did work against them. It did work. So I would consider shotguns on that. I would consider shotguns. Now the last part of your list is 2 hellhounds. I'm assuming you're going heavy flamer and inferno cannon because you haven't paid for any upgrades. They're fine. So there's a few areas that I would mix up. I would change the plasma pistol to a plasma gun in the company command squad, and I would drop the melter bomb, and I would consider dropping an engine sear. But that's it. That's the only changes I would make, and that gives you 45 points. Okay. Oh, one thing I just want to mention, sorry, before we move on. The 2 hellhounds, just check the formation, but I believe you can take 1 to 3 squadrons of hellhounds. So there's no reason why you had to take those as a squadron. Just letting you know, you could take them as 2 separate hellhounds, and it gives you a bit more tactical flexibility. But anyway, so you've saved 45 points. What could you spend those 45 points on? Well, a lot of you want to consider 2 things. 1, heavy flamers instead of flamers on your veterans. Heavy flamers may have the word heavy in the title, but they are actually assault weapons. For 5 points more, you can be rocking a strength 5 AP 4 template. Much, much more effective. It means you're wounding Space Marines on 3s, which is so much better, and anything that isn't in power armor, anything Eldar infantry, Skitarii, Necron warriors, anything like that, you'll be ignoring their armor save. particularly useful against, like I said, Tower Necrons. Because Necrons, they get a 4-up save and a 4-up will be back. If you can remove one of their saves, you'll find it a lot easier to keep the little tin men bastards down. So, that would cost you 15 points to do that, which would leave you with 30 points left over. With your 30 points, I would consider giving your veteran chimeras and hellhounds dozer blades, because they're obviously going to be wanting to be driving up the field doing damage, so you don't want them to get stuck on some terrain. Your tanks don't need it as much because most of them will be staying still. But you have a choice. You'll have that's 25 points, which leaves you with 5 points left over. So you could put a dozer blade on your company commander's chimera if you want him to keep pace. But he's got plasma guns, which are 24-inch range. So he doesn't need it as much. He can sit back and be a bit more of a commanding presence, maybe a bit more of a support element. But I would either put a dozer blade on your company commander's vehicle or put it on the Punisher in the other formation. Your Punisher will need to get close as well. Or option number C, put a heavy stubber on the Punisher and just go for that nice even number of 32 shots, which is the maximum you could possibly put out, and then actually means just firing more than a Vulcan Mega Bolter on a Stormlord, which is pretty badass. You're firing more shots, which is very badass. But like I said, overall, the list is great. If you had to go into a tournament tomorrow, I think this list will do fine. The only thing I would insist is you change that plasma pistol to a plasma gun. But apart from that, no issues. So it's a good list. One last thing I'd say is, in terms of the chimeras, and hellhounds, I'd give you hellhounds hull heavy flamers because they're fast vehicles. They can go 12 inches, flame with both templates. Absolutely fantastic with burning things off. You don't really want the heavy bolter. You don't really want the multi-melter. Because the heavy bolter is a long-range weapon. You're able to skill 3, so what's the fucking point? And the multi-melter is one shot and means you're wasting your Inferno Cannon. So, heavy flamers on your hellhounds. And chimeras, I recommend the multi-laser heavy flamer combo, because these chimeras, they're going to be getting up close and personal. What you can do is you can roll forward 6 inches a turn, laying down, not a huge amount of firepower, but laying down. If you use all chimeras going forward, no, just these 3, sorry, just the veteran chimeras, you're laying down 9 multi-laser shots a turn, and then when you get close and personal, you switch over, you move forward 6 inches again, and you fire your heavy flamer, and you can snap fire your multi-laser. If you've got the heavy bolter on the hull, it means most of the time you'll be firing those 3 shots and won't be doing anything, because they'll just be snap firing the whole time. However, for your company command chimera, if you are considering keeping it back and using it as more of a plasma bunker, I would consider the heavy bolter, because then it won't be moving. You'll be able to fire your multi-laser and your heavy bolter at full ballistic skill. But if you're thinking that the command squad's going to be rolling forward with the veterans, then I would put a heavy flamer on that one as well. Because again, you'll be rolling forward, getting into double tap range with your plasma guns, and then heavy flaming whatever's left over. There you go. So I'd like to think it's quite a good list. For those of you who like to play tanks and veterans, I would say, honestly, this combination of the Armoured Fist and the Assault Company is perfect. Absolutely. I've seen it in action. It works. I've used it myself. It works. Only downside is you will get your ass handed to you. You will quite literally get your shit pushed back in if you come across an invisible Death Star. It will just munch through you. It will just carve you up. But against anything that isn't an invisible Death Star, you will do absolutely fine. Bikes, you'll probably struggle a little bit with bikes because you don't have a lot of ignores cover. But apart from that, you should be fine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this list review. Hope you found it informative. And for any of you mech players out there, I hope it's given you a few ideas on what to do with your own armies. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.